For years, the truth was hidden. People from other times, other worlds, heroes. But now we know. They're among us.
With the 7th and final season of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. looming, I wanted to look back through the series that kicked off Marvel's television efforts. Arriving a year after the MCU really took off with the Avengers, S.H.I.E.L.D. started as something of a companion series to the film efforts. Various crossover events have taken place throughout the series, but this has waned through the years. Later reviews of mine will likely explore how this wasn't necessarily a bad thing, but certainly in these early episodes, the show was wearing its links to the Marvel Cinematic Universe on its sleeve. And why wouldn't they? The Avengers and Iron Man 3 had both just grossed over $1 billion each, and the resulting connection to these films meant that on initially premiering in the US, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. attracted 12.2 million viewers. These astronomical figures would unfortunately not last. However, as the ratings went down, the quality of the show went up. Like any show, it took time to find its footing, and once it did, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. delivered some truly phenomenal episodes of television. So, enough of the history lesson. I invite you now to join me in looking back at a truly transformative series. The pilot episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. does its best to take all the things audiences love about Marvel movies, the witty quips, fast-paced action, a fun story, and condense it all into a 45-minute time slot. For the most part this works. The episode certainly retains the fun buoyancy of a typical Marvel film, but it can't help but be slowed down by all the world building and character introductions it has to go through. Now this is a problem all shows face in their infancy, and I hesitate to even necessarily call it a problem, but the show does stumble somewhat significantly where it pertains to certain characters. We're gradually introduced to the whole team: Skye, Ward, Coulson, May, Fitz and Simmons, but only half really feel like proper characters by the end of the episode. The show puts a lot of faith in the audience that they're already familiar with this universe, but still gives new viewers enough information about Coulson's backstory without it becoming too expositional. Coulson's first scene is reminiscent of the man we met in the movies, but rest assured by the end of the episode he is a much deeper character. He may have a winning arsenal of charm and jokes at his disposal, but we still get a more serious side to the character. He refuses to let Mike Peterson die, and their conversation together at the crux of the episode is incredibly emotional. Coulson is a man who cares deeply about the values S.H.I.E.L.D. was made to uphold, and that it appears the organisation he loves so much is lying to him about something should make for some very interesting stories down the line. If it seemed at all like one of the defining moments of the Avengers film had been ruined by bringing Coulson back for this show, then by the end of the episode the writers have completely wiped away that fear. As mentioned before, the rest of the team didn't feel quite so defined. At present they all feel like cookie-cutter characters. Skye's the typical rebellious hacker type, which could get tiring rather quickly. However, there did seem to be genuine heart behind her actions, and it will be interesting to see whether her relationship with Coulson develops this. Again, Ward was the stereotypical tough guy. He had some humorous beats, but he risked just being the straight man to everyone else's fun. There were some hints dropped about a potentially troubling backstory, so I look forward to seeing this developed. My problems largely arose around the other three members of the group. Fitzsimmons have the potential to be a fun comedic duo, but I don't feel we saw enough of them this episode to get a good idea of who they are. Agent May is someone I just feel we didn't see enough of this episode, but I'm nevertheless intrigued. She can clearly kick some serious ass, but is quite happy to simply be the team's pilot. There is certainly some history here, some perhaps involving Coulson, and of all the characters she might just be the one I'm most interested in learning more about. In a sense I feel as though I'm expecting too much of a show in its first episode, however I do believe a little more work could have been done to define some of the larger ensemble. Where I thought the episode did triumph was in its story. The action moves along at a brisk pace, and it's nice to see a street-level superhero story in the MCU after all the tales of gods and aliens. J. August Richards shines as Mike Peterson, a man who simply wants to do right by his son. It's no wonder Joss Whedon continues to collaborate with him, as he brings a stunning level of emotional depth to the character and makes him incredibly relatable. Credit to the writers for the superb dialogue, but it's Richards' delivery in the climax of the episode that makes it all work, as you really feel the pain and torment in his every word. The episode also sheds a brighter light on S.H.I.E.L.D's place in the world. We got a better idea of who they were in the Avengers, but as an organisation they always seem somewhat limited in their prior appearances. Here we see different divisions of S.H.I.E.L.D, alongside a welcome guest turn by Kobe Smulders, reprising her role as Maria Hill from the films, and gain a better idea of S.H.I.E.L.D as a worldwide intelligence agency. It's some welcome world building that paints S.H.I.E.L.D as a far more formidable force after all the various setbacks seen in the films. What was best, however, were the details in the show. The use of Extremis from Iron Man 3 and the Centipede Serum, or just simply seeing Heroes of New York action figures in a shop window. It all goes a long way to making this feel like a living, breathing universe worth investing your time in. Overall, this episode worked as a brilliant introduction to the show. Outside of Coulson, the characters were a little lackluster, but some intriguing seeds were planted for the future, and the casting ensured they were all likeable nonetheless. The story had a lot of the fun and heart we've come to expect from Marvel properties, and still managed to define itself from its cinematic counterparts. The scale might be somewhat limited as a TV show, but what this episode showed was that what it may be lacking in spectacle, it can more than make up for in heart. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's pilot episode is a successful venture into a new part of the Marvel Universe. With a heartfelt story, exciting action, and the world rife with possibility, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D is a show I very much look forward to watching develop.